Hey there, everyone. Well, I am sorry that we are not getting together in person today because I have to be traveling when you are probably watching this. So the next best thing it seemed was to have a pre-recorded meditation coming to you from the boardroom, the environs to which we have become so accustomed um, over the past months. And anyway, even if it's virtual, I'm happy to be here with you and hope that many of you are able to access this and to derive derive benefit from it. So, wherever you might be, let me invite you, as I always do, to find a position for yourself that feels stable and at ease and comfortable. Whatever kind of seat you're sitting on, it might be a chair or a cushion or on the floor, wherever you are. Uh, Find yourself a comfortable place to be and to sit. And whenever you feel that you are ready, let me invite you to just let your eyes gently close. Sitting here, wherever here might be for you, begin to allow yourself to let go of whatever thoughts or stories might draw you away from this particular time and place this afternoon. There is a famous comment on this kavanah, this intention, this aspiration to be fully present, attributed to Rabbi Menachem Mendel of Kotsk, whom we call the Kotzker Rebbe, that when Moses is told by God, come up on the mountain, v'heyeh sham, and be there, the Kotzker notices the redundancy of this language. Of course, he says if Moses was going to come up on the mountain, where else would he be? Of course he would be there. And he reflects upon this, that as human beings, we are often physically in a place, but because our minds are elsewhere, our attention is elsewhere, we might as well be somewhere completely different. I often think of a time when I was attending a mindfulness retreat on a very beautiful day. It was out in the hill country on a sunny day with puffy clouds and blue skies. And because I was so worried about something else that was troubling me at that moment, I realized that I was not really there because my attention was somewhere else. And being distracted in this way is not bad, it's not a failing at all. This is the way we are made. This is part of what it is to have a human mind that is so wondrously capable of internally generating thoughts and fantasies and emotions that vie for our attention. But this is a time when we can aspire and intend to in some measure embody the Kotzker Rebbe's teaching of Heyesham, of just being there. Imagine that nothing else mattered in this moment except for the simplicity of fully dropping down into your body and just noticing what there is to be felt. What it's like to bring a kind of hitlamdut, as the beautiful Hebrew word says, hitlamdut from the word lamad, to learn, hitlamdut referring to a kind of curiosity and eagerness to learn. And to learn nothing more complicated than what is this that I am feeling? What is the truth of my havaya, as we say in Hebrew, of my experience in this moment? Notice, for example, the manner in which your hands are resting. I notice that my wrists are resting on the side, on my upper thighs, near my knees, and some of my fingers are woven together. Notice and give some attention and some hitlandut, some curiosity to the resting position and the sensory qualities of your palms and fingers. In Hebrew, words that are indicative of a pair of something often end with the syllable ayim. So one hand is yad, like the pointing finger hand on the Torah pointer. And two hands are yadayim. Give some attention to your own yadayim, your own hands. And while you are noticing how they are resting in this moment, you might also offer a bit of hoda'ah, a bit of thankfulness and gratitude for these miraculous and complex instruments that enable you to manipulate and use aspects of your environment with such exquisite sensitivity. We can continue this theme of things in our bodies that are paired and that end in ayim in Hebrew with our einayim, our eyes. Really give some attention to that part of your body with intention. If your eyes are closed, see if you are still able to perceive patterns of light and shadow that you can perceive even through your eyelids. And besides those possible patterns of light or shadow or gradations of color. Extend some hitlandut, some curiosity to the way that your eyes actually feel. Notice the eyelids. Notice the small muscles that transition from your lower eyelids into your cheeks. Is that part of your body relaxed, or is there some tension or holding there? And when you give attention to your eyelids, what other sensations might be there? Perhaps there is a perception of dryness or moisture. Nothing needs to be changed, just notice. And we can extend this exploration, this curiosity, this hitlamdut about our gateways of sensation that come in pairs, in twos, by extending your attention to your oznaim, ozen being ear, oznaim being your two ears. Are there sounds, pleasant or unpleasant, obvious or more subtle now that you are giving your ears some attention? Are there sounds that come to your ears? Perhaps sounds that you might not have noticed before. Just let your oznaim, let your ears, again, so exquisitely, miraculously complex in their function, nerves and tiny bones, cochlea and eardrums, and even the way the most visible parts of your ears beckon, as it were, and gather in sound. Let's see what that's like to notice. Speech, music, the songs of birds, the voices of loved ones. All enter through the oznaim, the ears. Yadayim, hands, einayim, eyes, oznaim, ears, and this is only a fraction of this beautiful and complex and miraculous vessel called your body that carries you through your life. So let me invite you and all the others who are here with us at this moment to just sit quietly for another minute or so. Very softly shifting your attention to the processes, and more than the processes, the sensations of the fact that you are breathing. On the next in-breath, feeling your lungs inflate and your chest and abdomen and rib cage expand to accommodate the breath. And then, as the breath is released, feeling what that's like in these subtle movements in your body. And when you notice that you've followed a sound, a sensation, a thought, a story off away from the breath, treat that as a good thing, this realization, oh, I've fallen away from my kavanah, my intention to be with the breath, and not with a sense of criticism, but with a sense of celebration. I am awake again to this intention. Just come back to your breath. So let's sing together. We haven't sung the Rabbi Shefa Gold melody, a little chant that she has for Ashrei. So let's take that up. The words are Ashrei Yoshvei Vetecha. Happy are those who sit or dwell in your house. Od Yahalelucha Selah. They offer unending praise. We'll sing it a few times. Ashrei Yoshvei Veitecha Od Yahalelucha Od Yahalelucha Selah Ashrei Yoshvei Veitecha Od Yahalelucha Od Yahalelucha Selah Ashrei Yoshvei Veitecha Od Yahalelucha Od Yahalelucha Selah. Okay. Please do take your time, don't rush. And when you feel like you are ready to let your eyes open, if they've been closed, you can do that. And we are going to move into some of the words of the weekday evening tefillah with Baruch Hu. If you happen to have a prayer book at home, it's on page 4. Stand if you like. Baruch hu et Adonai hamivorach. Baruch Adonai hamivorach leolam va'ed. Baruch Adonai hamivorach leolam va'ed. And on page 6, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chochma poteach she'arim, uvitvuna mashane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, Uma'avir yom umevi laila uma'avdil bein yom uvein laila Adonai tzavaot shemo El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch alenu le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. And on page 8, Ahavat Olam. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu lemadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shachvenu ufkumenu nasiach b'chukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'b'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed ki heim chayenu ve'orech yameinu Uvahem nege yomam valayla, v'yahavatecha al tasir, mimenu le'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev amo Yisrael, Ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. If you've been standing, you're welcome to have a seat. And we'll continue with the V'ahavta. If you have a prayer book, it is on page 12. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadavarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavacha hayom al levavecha Vishinantam levanecha v'dibarta ba'am b'shivtecha b'veitecha u'v'lechtecha v'aderech u'v'shochbecha u'v'kumecha u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha Leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim lelohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lehiyot lachem le'elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Moving over to page 16, we have Mi Chamocha. Mi Chamocha ba'elim Adonai, who is like you, God? May we, like our ancestors, move from Meitzar Yam, as the rabbis pun on Mitzrayim, Egypt, Meitzar Yam, the narrow sea, the sea of constriction, into Cherut, into freedom. So, Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh, nora tehilot osefele, nora tehilot osefele. Malechutecha ra'u vanecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze Eli, anu v'yamaru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, le'olam, le'olam, le'olam va'ed. V'ne'emar ki fada Adonai et Yaakov ga'alo miyad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. So we are going to continue now singing on page 18, Ufros Aleinu Sukat Shlomecha, spread over us the shelter of your peace. Ufros Aleinu Sukat Shlomecha, Uferos Aleinu Sukat Shlomecha, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, Uferos Aleinu Sukat Shlomecha, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. We are going to continue, if you have a Siddur, on page 20 with the Reader's Kaddish, which will lead us into the Tefillah. Yikadav yikadash shemei rabba bi'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayedecho beit Yisrael ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabba mivorach la'alam u'lamei almaya yitbarach Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha barichu le'elamin kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran b'alma v'imru amen. All right, page 74 is where the Amidah begins. You can stand for this, as is customary, if you like. We'll sing the first few brachot together, as we always do, and then just move into our own silent prayers. And if you're standing, you can sit whenever you feel like you're finished. Okay. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה, ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, והגיון ליבי לפניך, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי, וגואלי, וגואלי. Again, everybody, hello. Erev Tov. Good evening to all of you. I miss sitting in this place with all of you again. For those who may be tuning in past the beginning, it turns out that I have to be traveling on Wednesday when you're probably seeing this. And I am sorry because I miss being with all of you, but it's nice to know that some of you are going to get to watch this and participate in it. That makes me feel good. And the plan right now is to resume our in-person and online weekday meditation service beginning next week. Anyway, so the Torah portion of the parasha that we read this week is called Tzav. Tzav is the second portion after Vayikra. Vayikra means he called or God called. It's the name of last week's portion. It's also the name of the whole book of Leviticus because that's where we were last week. So Tzav is the root of the word mitzvah. The mem can come and go, the m in mitzvah comes and goes, the hey, the h sound comes and goes, but tzav comes from the root tziva, which means to command, to instruct. There's a tradition that the first thing you're supposed to teach a child to say in Hebrew, you would think would be Shema Yisrael, and that's a tradition. But there's another old tradition that says the first thing you teach a child to say in Hebrew is Torah Tziva. There's that word Tziva, to command. Torah Tziva lanu Moshe. Moses commanded or instructed us in Torah. And in fact, if you know the little song we used to sing with the kids in Tachabat when we would march the Sefer Torah around, we would do a hakafa. We would sing Torah, 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 Tziva lanu Moshe. So those words Moses instructed us or commanded us in the Torah. So the first section of this Torah portion, Tzav, continues what we had in Vayikra last week, which is a cataloging of the various korbanot, the various sacrifices that were offered in the temple in Jerusalem. As our very astute bar mitzvah student last week, James Alter, said in his Devar Torah, because offering sacrifices is not part of our religious practice anymore and hasn't been for 2 millennia, there hasn't been a temple for that long, this can be material about the sacrifices that's pretty hard to relate to, at least immediately. But it makes it even more interesting to dive into the commentaries of Rashi and Ibn Ezra and the other commentators, because by the time they were living in the Middle Ages, there was no temple and there was no sacrificial system either. So they also had to plumb the depths of the words and the nuances to try to extract things that would be meaningful to those who were watching, those who were listening, I should say, and reading their commentaries. So there was one little snippet that I wanted to share with you tonight, and that is that the first section of this week's portion, as I started to say a minute ago, deals with a sacrifice, a korban, an offering called the olah. Olah comes from the same root as Allah or aliyah, like when you get an aliyah, an honor to come to the Torah on Shabbat morning, or we say someone moves to Israel, they make aliyah. Aliyah comes from the root meaning to ascend, to go up. So when you have an aliyah on Shabbat morning, you come up onto the bima, you stand where the Torah is going to be read. So the olah was called the olah, going up, because it was the sacrifice that no one shared. There was no sharing of some of the sacrifices, the sacrificial meal. Rather, it was burned completely on the altar, and as you might have intuited, it was called the aliyah because it all went up in smoke, presumably to God, if that's the way that things were conceived. So one of the instructions concerning the olah is that there was to be a fire kept burning continually on the altar to consume this offering, this olah. And it uses the Hebrew phrase, Eish Tamid Tukad Bo, a continual fire. Tukad Bo will be kept burning on it. Lo tichbeh, it says, it shouldn't be allowed to be extinguished, to go out. So I took a look at Rashi. I had never actually looked at Rashi on that particular verse. At least I don't remember ever looking at it. And Rashi says, that's kind of redundant. A flame will be kept burning continually on it, not to go out. He said because it could have just said the flame should not go out. Why this extra verbiage about it has to be continual? And he connects it to the word tamid, and we all know the word tamid because we know about the ner tamid, right? A light which is kept burning continually. In the Torah, it's morning to evening. It's evening to morning all night long. We now call it eternal light. We keep it lit all the time. And he draws a kind of startling conclusion that the reason it uses this phrase, Eish Tamid to Kadbo, is it's trying to teach us that the Ner Tamid, or the menorah, the candelabra in the tabernacle, and then later on in the temple, was to be lit from the fire on the altar. That the tamid referred to in Eish Tamid to Kadbo, a tamid flame will burn in it, is that this is also the flame that you use to light the menorah, or what we today call the Ner Tamid. And I thought that was really pretty great. Thinking like a rabbi, so to speak, I'm not exactly sure what lesson or what sort of homiletical or sermonic conclusion you might draw from that. Um, but I love the idea that the flame of the Ner Tamid, sometimes we say that we have a Mishkan in our hearts and there's a Ner Tamid that burns in there as well. I love the idea that the flame of the Ner Tamid um, is is taken from the altar itself, the most holy flame, and is representative of that. Um, it gives a whole interesting set of thoughts to Hanukkah and the way we kindle those lights as well. So I leave you with that, not with any grand sermonic conclusion, but at least with some things to think about. I just thought that was pretty cool, that connection that Rashi makes. Anyway, let us move on, friends, to the Aleinu and then Kaddish. And again, if you want to stand, you are welcome to do so. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula liotze v'reshid, shehu asanu k'shomrei ha'adama, v'hu samanu k'shlichei ha'torah, shehu sam chayenu itam, v'gor aleinu im kol ha'olam, v'anachnu koreim, umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, v'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. So we move on now to the mourner's Kaddish, thinking of all those whom we've lost, particularly if you are observing, if you're in Shloshim or Shiva, or you're observing someone's yard site, the anniversary of their passing. We hold all of those precious memories in our hearts as together we say, Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah, bi'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'vyomechon, v'chayedechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'bizman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach, la'alam u'la'almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal, shemei dekudusha barichu, la'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, ta'amiran bi'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru, amen. May the one who creates peace in the universe bring peace and wholeness to us, to all Israel, and to all the world, and we say, amen. And now imagining that we are standing in a lovely circle, we offer these words of blessing as well. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May the Holy One bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May the Holy One shine upon you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May the Eternal be with you and give you shalom, wholeness and peace. In a world we pray of justice, safety, healing, equality, and peace for all who dwell on earth, as together we say, amen. All right, everybody. Have a good evening and a good Shabbat to come, and looking forward to seeing you, hopefully in person, next week. Erev Tov. See you later.